Our three guests have some of the most recognisable tracks in drum and bass. They've just released their 4-track EP, Carry the Fire, which brings these sounds together and is a representation of the sound of drum and bass currently exploding across North America. This month, we welcome to the podcast Bensley, Justin Hawkes, and Kumarion. Right now, this is actually the first ever triple header episode, I guess you could call it. But Bensley, Justin Hawkes, Kumarion, thank you guys so much for jumping on the podcast. How are you guys?
Yeah, here.
Yeah,
doing good.
So good. Hey, well, it's really nice to have you guys here. Congrats on the EP. I assume this has been in the works for a little while. I'll start with you, Justin.
Yeah, quite a while, man. I think we started this concept up in December. When we came up with the idea of linking up together. And it's been in the works since December, and we put tons and tons of work into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say like we actually achieved most of the work we put into it, like maybe in the last 2 to 3 weeks before we had to send the music off. Wow. It was sort of a last minute kind of crunch time session that we had, like just day after day we were on Discord, like morning to night working on this music. And it came together really, really quickly, like despite us sort of having an idea for it a long time ago. But yeah, it's fun to work.
It definitely paid off for sure. Giving it that last extra little push that it needed.
Mm-hmm. It was pretty intense. I remember at one point we had finished we had finished or started 2 songs, and we had a third in progress. Mm-hmm. But in the middle of the third, and we're about a week away from the deadline of the songs needing to be processed, and the conclusion we all had was we need a 4th song. And we literally, like, while making this third one, completing the third and probably the second one, we set to work on a 4th track. Like against all odds. And that final track was I'm Losing My Mind.
Oh wow. Literally. Right down to the wire. I love that.
Man, but it became such a banger. So
totally
felt good.
Now you guys have obviously been, I feel like, playing the long game when it comes to drum and bass and the scene. Like you guys have been there from the beginning for years now. It's been bubbling away. It's finally popping off. America finally found out about drum and bass. we're proud of you guys. Has that change been like super noticeable, especially when you guys are playing out?
Yeah, we're pretty much an overnight success now.
You're gonna feel the drum and bass, the American drum and bass haters with that one.
We've been feeling it, but in the same sense of all this new energy bringing so much attention online, it really feels real. I mean, we're going to these shows now, and it's like life's just different. Actually, there's always so much energy and so many new people who are saying like, "This is my second time at a drum and bass show, and you guys are amazing." Like, I can't believe I missed out on this for so long.
Yeah, where's it been?
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of younger kids come into it. We thought we were the younger ones, but there's people like 10 years younger than us that are starting to get into it. So it's cool to. We were, yeah. I guess not anymore, really. I mean, there's people that are just turning 21, 20 years old, really starting to dig into.
Yeah, we have a youthful edge about us. And it's easy to forget that we've actually been in it quite a while.
You can tell by our facial hair.
And all the fucking wrinkles.
I'm
22, dude. That's what 5 years in the music industry does to you.
Literally, I've seen those memes.
No, I'm just kidding.
24...
We've all been doing this about 12 years. And we got into this late 2011, 12, each of us or earlier, and it's easy to think just because we've sort of come out of nowhere on the public eye that we haven't been doing this for a long time. Me especially, previously going by flight. It's easy for a lot of people to just only take notice now, but all three of us have been absolutely putting the grind in for years.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
So it's nice to see things coming around.
Yeah, exactly. It must be super satisfying for you guys. Like 24 dates was probably almost like unfathomable a year or even 2 years ago. Crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think my first adventure into the US was like supporting Delta Heavy on a lot of shows. And like we're doing more shows than he was doing at the time. And the amount of people coming out to our shows is comparable, honestly. And between the three of us, none of us is that household drum and bass name that Delta Heavy is. So like people are just coming out for us, which is crazy to me. Like
so good.
Like it really feels like we've entered another level.
Well, and speaking of Delta Heavy, like he's just supercharged on that end. Like where he was a couple years ago is where we are now. And where he is now is like insane on the US side. Like his US shows are just packing out fantastic stuff. Like it's been amazing to see. I think in terms of energy, I think everybody's experiencing that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to say that we like surpassed him or anything.
Yeah, it's just terms of timeline. When we were starting to support Delta Heavy was kind of the beginning of this really big change, I guess, in terms of energy.
Yeah.
And everything's really come up since then.
Mm-hmm. So like I say, you guys obviously on tour right now, 24 dates. How do the crowds in the US at the moment then compare to the likes of, I don't know, the UK or over here in New Zealand, that sort of thing? Like, you're saying that there's lots of younger people coming through. What's the comparison, I guess?
Well, I mean Omar is like, you just had a Europe show or two. Why don't you send it?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm still kind of new. I would like to know. I would like to know how it compares, but that hasn't happened for me yet. But these two have been there plenty of times.
Yeah.
They can
I was
speak
just
to
over
that.
in New Zealand in October of last year, and that was my first time touring over there. And it was with Sail Away, and we had a bunch of really nice shows. Some of the best ones in Christchurch, Auckland, and Wellington. And honestly, it's like they're different ravers, right? The New Zealand crowd knows all the staple tunes and sort of the cultural aspects of it.
Yeah, they're getting it on the radio.
Yeah, exactly. Like
happens there.
Yeah, just caning DNB in the car on your way home. Like that's the best part. I mean, Brooke and Sin on George FM Drive, just like, huge proponents of the culture down there.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say out here we have a similar energy in terms of like people dancing and people like excited about the shows. But I won't say that people know the staple tunes and like shout out the Sub Focus anthems, like it's not quite the same. But in terms of raver energy, like it feels the same right now, which is great. And I love that.
Yeah. I would say it's hard to ignore. There's some elements of American raving that's like distinct from everywhere else in the world. And I actually like it quite a lot. We get like a lot of little gifts given to us.
Yeah.
Shows like, little plastic dinosaurs and bracelets and things like that.
Oh yeah,
the Dino Man.
Hey, look, I got some right here. Somebody gave me.
I got a couple
CD
of those.
right
Hold
there.
up, let me get my dinosaurs.
And a duck.
Shout out to Dino Girl in San Francisco.
That's so cool because I noticed that about American rave culture as well, is like the full like rave outfits and like you say, like the bling, I guess you could call it, like all of that sort of thing. That's not really a thing in New Zealand. We kind of just dress up like, I don't know, maniacs sometimes, but like I think that's super cool. Like that makes it special.
Yeah,
I think Omar probably has the most experience with the festival and new to drum and bass crowd out here. like Omar, what's your experience with the new to drum and bass crowd when especially you're included on these like multi-genre lineups?
Well, I think it's like really new to some of these people. So they're kind of like transitioning over. So like a lot of my crowd that I've experienced is transitioning over to drum and bass. But they're also bringing that kind of like culture, their candy culture over to it, you know, and that's probably why we're seeing a lot of this stuff at our shows. Um, yeah, it's a little interesting, but I guess yeah, that's pretty much my experience with it. It's cool to see that people are finally starting to get the program now, though. It's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, not just playing
I think,
a couple of drum and bass tracks, so you can play a full drum and bass set or whatever. Whereas sometimes in New Zealand we want a multi-genre set now, like we want something else slipped in there, you know?
Yeah,
It's a funny opposite.
yeah. They're starting to get it here. And what I'll tell you right now, the landscape here in the United States is changing very, very fast. It wasn't, I would say, like even like 2 years ago isn't the same as right now. You know, there was like a lot of people post 2020 that were saying, "Oh, drum and bass is happening in America. Drum and bass is happening," but it. I feel like I feel like that's more of a thing now than it was in 2020. Really, yeah. It feels like it's actually finally started to actually happen, and you're seeing a lot more acts in the U.S. touring circuit, like in the U.S. Touring circuit, than you've seen in a long time. To be honest, we're getting actual big stages now here instead of little dingy art cars, so
Totally.
people are starting to really people are starting to really turn on to it.
Yeah,
And that's
we saw the guys all over like the biggest stages at EDC this year.
Yeah.
And people were loving it. Tens of thousands of people. It's really encouraging to see.
Yeah, it's more or less included in most staple festivals here. I mean, some of the biggest ones. There are some more deeper in the culture festivals that have like more inclusive lineups that are way headsier than more of like the EDC type of festivals. But in general, there's DNB representation every year for the last like 4 or 5, and it's just been growing significantly in how many people come to those sets and what kind of set times we're getting and so on. I mean, and honestly, like big shouts to essentially the work that the HeadX team and others in those sort of social atmospheres have done at like making drum and bass like hype across the internet, and that's really rolling into what we're seeing everywhere. So I mean, I'm seeing that a lot. I will say when it comes down to like the scene that's existed in the US, like it goes without mention that when we say people are like finally getting it, it's talking about the majority of people that have never experienced drum and bass, that are often like just the ravers that are at festivals and ravers at home who've never heard DNB before, sort of more casual audiences.
Yeah. There's
drum and
been
bass is
passionate core audience for decades and decades, but like,
yes.
Yeah, now it feels like everyone understands it a bit better, especially in the live context. And people are much more open to the fast-paced music these days.
Yeah, so more like
I mean,
more mass.
I was just gonna say that we've said this plenty of times, but the drum and bass scene in the U.S. was very scattered, since it's a massive country, and like with it blowing up on the internet, it's kind of connecting all the scenes across the country now. There hasn't really been like a united drum and bass scene here. It's just been like scattered crews all across the country doing their own things.
Because there was like
it's mostly been city based.
Yeah, right. Because there was a bit of a I don't want to get negative on it, but there was a bit of a discussion, obviously, when the Worship Boys went over there about like, oh, they've come over and made out like they invented drum and bass or whatever, which obviously wasn't the case. And you know, obviously it's been around. Exactly. That's been around for forever, but it's just en masse now that people are getting it.
Yeah. I think the response to that worship article was more of a reaction to like one or two things that were said that people didn't align with. And I understand it completely. I feel like people are protective of something that they have designed and put so much energy into and financial energy, and often not seeing a financial return. You know, they've invested their time and energy into something that's difficult to sustain. But you have, you know, these places, these little niches that have sustained for years. I mean, you've got Elements in Boston that's now celebrating, I think, 25 years of running a drum and bass night. You have the same in LA, Respect, which I believe is now 26 or 27. And there's many different places across the country that have these long-term scenes that have really like made the US scene for so long. Yeah. And they've all been you know, there have been people that carry you know, carry the fire of drum and bass this entire time. You know, and that's who has made
said it.
I did say it.
They've been booking these international acts before they were ever like, you know, sort of a hype thing of today.
Yeah, before any of this was ever acknowledged, they've been carrying the fire this entire time. And yeah, huge respect for the people that have laid this down for us, because without them, we wouldn't be able to do anything.
Totally. You could say they passed the baton, I guess, on to you guys to continue carrying the fire into the tour. Yeah. There's a bit of a stretch there for me, but basically on the tour at the moment, which, by the way, looks like you guys have been smashing it. Great stuff. I'm really, really proud of you guys, honestly, just to see it from a mile away. It's so cool. But being so close on tour, I thought, is there some things that you guys have ended up learning about each other from being around each other so much that you previously didn't know about each other?
Yeah. Well, I've learned that every time Justin gets on a flight, it gets delayed.
Yeah.
We got better to book Justin.
He's partially right. I think we've all hit that like crazy flight things lately.
Yeah, I think we've all been cursed a little bit when it comes to flights. Yeah.
Already tight schedule, even more stressful.
I did see Peter your post the other day though about Air Canada though. Is that a sore subject? Should I mention that?
It hit my breaking point with those guys.
Yeah.
It's okay because they gave me a 20% off coupon, so we're cool.
Up to $75 value.
Yeah.
Canadian.
Fixed everything.
It's Canadian, $75. Just have to specify that.
That's worth a lot of money.
And when you guys are on tour, do you guys consciously thinking about eating well and that sort of thing, like really looking after yourself because of things like flying around? You guys, it's pretty hectic.
I mean, me and Justin were talking about trying to work out during tour, but honestly, it's the delays have made it so impossible to even try to think about doing that. Usually we're moving so quickly throughout the tour that it's just hard to even keep up with things. Which it kind of sucks, but you know, like we just got to do what we got to do to make these shows happen. I would love to eat healthier, honestly, on tour.
In American airports exclusively.
Yeah, dude, it's hard. It's not easy when the only thing that's open is a McDonald's or something. Exactly. And like sometimes we don't even have time to even think about what we want.
The truth is that we literally were getting about 7 hours of sleep throughout the entire weekend, and it was all on a plane.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We feel
not
like
even
garbage.
a joke.
That's
Like
crazy.
it was our first weekend. We had 4 shows, and with that 4 shows is 5 flight routes, including one back home, and multiple maybe one connection per flight route, right? And because of our delays, because of our travel difficulties, we literally were only getting about an hour and a half of sleep every night.
Wow.
If we managed to get it late, like an early check-in, like I think Pete probably got the most sleep out of all of us, thanks to his early flights that didn't get as delayed, I guess. Yeah, it's been rough. It's been rough, but it's part of tour life, you know?
Yeah,
and we try to keep the glamour online.
We'll have a private jet this time, and it'll make things a little easier.
Yeah, give it a few more years.
Yeah.
Like I saw Kumarion, I saw your post saying online about on Threads actually about saying sleeping can take the fun out of things sometimes, which I'm always saying like if we didn't have to have sleep, could you imagine the amount of things we'd actually be able to get done? Like when's there some technology or something that can just stop us from sleeping? I guess that's called cocaine.
Man, if we didn't have to sleep, we'd be yeah, I guess, but
Yeah.
you'd run into a wall at some point with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that is truly honestly one of the hardest things I feel like, at least for me, is I mean, not sleeping can alter your health, your mood. It really adds on. I mean, I think with after the first weekend, I got sick almost immediately, and I'm not feeling too hot right now. I mean, I'm not sick, but I just feel like I'm not always 100%, which trying to manage sleep during a tour has to be like one of the hardest things to do. Yeah, but thankfully for me, I can sleep like a baby on planes. It's like a superpower not everybody can do.
Like a plane baby?
Yeah, the second the plane starts backing up, I immediately pass
Start
out.
Screaming. He's like,
Yeah,
He's that screaming
no,
baby.
I'm not. Honestly, maybe on this next one, I probably will start screaming like a baby. But yeah.
Sorry.
Pete.
Oh,
Oh,
I
yeah.
just got an analogy for our Kiwi fans about what lack of sleep does to us. You know, in The Lord of the Rings, like how the longer they carry the ring, the worse their mood gets.
More
That's us
tempting it
carrying
is
sleep
to
deficit.
put it on.
Yeah.
Is this a bad time to tell you I've never
Yeah.
seen Lord of the Rings?
What?
I'm a fake
That's
Kiwi.
a bad time to admit that, my friend. Oh, bad Kiwi. Bad Kiwi.
Damn.
Damn, letting down my
It's okay.
people.
It's okay. Absolute classic. Shout out Peter Jackson.
For real.
Yeah, you probably it's pretty good.
Shout out to J.R.R. Tolkien.
Yeah, exactly. Originally.
The one.
The one. Brilliant. All right. One for you, Justin. Can we expect the Black Block VIP released at any point?
Got a crazy thing for you. That is coming out July 1st. And you're the first to hear about that.
Look at that. Exclusive.
Exclusive.
Wait,
July 1st, baby. Black Block VIP.
How good.
Here
That's
we
our
go.
air horn.
Better than Gold VIP, but it's just country though? Just a full country track?
I've considered that. I've actually, see, that's the thing with my songwriting. I think the songwriting is really important, and making a song into a drum and bass song is just a conscious decision.
Mhm.
I might actually one day, and take the time and just do that. make a acoustic version or a non drum and bass version of some of my songs, because I think that is really interesting about my project. Obviously, it's not what's gonna keep my career afloat, but I think it's something I could do, and
I'm
I
here for
think
it.
I would
I'm here for
enjoy it.
Totally.
Play it live.
That'd
Yeah.
be crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, full disclosure, my uncle, when filming the music video, they literally did play it live. So that was for like 12 hours.
How did they play the Reese?
Well, literally
with the bass guitar.
The bassist, um, the bassist learned that riff and played it, like quite literally just played it over and over during our shoot.
Oh, wow.
So he was like actually tracking it.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's mad.
Well, you know what to do.
it was cool.
With the right pedals, you could probably recreate that live.
You just need the danger pedal that included in the music video.
And
The one size fits all serum patch.
For Bensley, Peter, you recently released some bootlegs on SoundCloud, I saw. Can we expect more of that? Is that like a volume 1 out of potentially more to come?
I definitely called it volume 1 so that I would have the option to do more later. I do have that I could make more packs with, but for now I'm just going to keep things under wraps and let this one breathe for a bit.
Yeah, no, of course.
I got to keep my sets, so I like to keep a bunch of stuff that people can't hear elsewhere in there.
Exactly. You got to have something. I'm requesting the bass down low bootleg in future, just FYI. What's one of the funniest or strangest moments you've experienced while touring? Where should I start?
Together or individually?
Individually, together, whichever one.
Let's talk about this one on the Carry the Fire one. Maybe our first night.
What happened on the first night? Okay, you tell the story because
Was it that good? Was it that good? He can't remember.
The backstage of the Jacksonville venue.
That's kind of what I was referring to.
Oh, the porn room.
Mike, have you ever seen the back rooms?
The back rooms.
Yeah, it's like a YouTube series based
No,
on
I
like really
haven't.
creepy. Oh, okay. Well,
Sorry, I don't know Lord of the Rings. Don't know the back rooms. It's not going well.
that's all right. It's not,
I'll just pretend.
Not
Yeah, I
super
do.
prevalent.
They're great.
but like the venue we played in Jacksonville on the first night of our tour was just in the middle of this like huge abandoned building, and every area outside of the club we were allowed to explore. Like the backstage was just through a bunch of like dark, creepy, winding corridors that haven't seen any like love or renovation in the last.
They look like they have impending destruction plans.
Yeah, they have like ominous messages written on the walls, like
Crazy.
you know, they're cockroaches. It was really gross, but like we just went around there exploring, and there was like an old like abandoned lawyer's office connected there as well, and the guy's like apparently he wasn't alive anymore, but his desk was just covered in old family photos.
Oh yeah, that's
creepy.
Yeah, I didn't even get to see that part.
Oh
It was a little
shoot!
creepy.
Yeah,
I have
yeah,
seen the porn room though.
It was just
Had a
it was just
haunted
creepy.
aura.
Yeah, it
Just-
was haunted.
Just drops the porn
They
room,
had
but
a-
doesn't explain it.
No, I think that one
No.
doesn't need context.
Fair.
That's
It's what it is, man.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's where we're playing our next show, dude. Like,
But yeah, it felt very weird in there, and I think the aura may have had an effect on our ticket sales as well.
You guys, you weren't playing like the studios for the Saw films or anything, were you? Like that sounds like something out of Saw.
no, but nobody can confirm or deny there wasn't a fire that killed a lot of people in that club. Because we just heard about it one time. We were like, okay.
Jesus, it just gets darker and darker.
Yeah.
Are there some other US artists, or Canada, of course, which are ones to watch at the moment that you feel deserve a shout out?
Yes. Yes, there are.
Mhm.
There's quite a lot. Obviously, you have Reaper making big moves across the states, across the world. But maybe less seen is Des McMahon, who just released his first album, Ethos, on Play Me.
Mhm.
He's one for the Warehouse Bangers and Tech Rollers guys. Really skilled artist, really great at atmosphere and tech creation, and it makes all sorts of stuff, but a lot of his stuff is well known in like the neuro-y roller zone.
Mhm.
Love his work.
Shout out to our boy CLB out in Chicago too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He's a big one that slept on.
Yeah.
CLB needs so much more recognition. He makes amazing jungle inspired, like sound clashy, jump up and sort of headsy tunes, but like you would put him in the category right next to like Boo and the others in the like maybe the players zone.
Be right
CLB. Yeah.
Yeah. Nick P, Airglow, Audio Scribe.
Definitely Audio Scribe.
Rebel Scum. Zeal.
Yeah. Zeal.
Yeah.
I got a big one. Echo Brown, who releases with 1985 and the North Quarter, Lensman's label. Echo Brown is fantastic. Soul funk, rollers kind of guy. Makes amazing liquid, makes amazing like deep stuff, deep and techie stuff. Really love his work. And go ahead.
No, I was just complimenting your recommendation.
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. I heard. Yeah, sorry. I guess another awesome one on that same zone is Winslow, who just recently, I believe, made a move to the UK.
We lost a
good one. Big shouts to our boy. Best luck out there in the UC. And he is joining his Hospital Records fam, and sounds like he's going to take a sabbatical off of his music director job. He is he's taking it full time. Winslow is an awesome producer, makes really soulful, beautiful liquid and rollers and interesting stuff, but he's in the Hospital Records atmosphere.
We've been discovering a lot of up and coming DJs and producers that we didn't know about by doing a mix contest for our tour to find like openers in each city. And we're discovering just like how many amazing talents there are in each of these cities, and it helps us like really understand these local scenes. But there's some great artists and DJs that we've had open for us and on these shows, and it's been really encouraging to see like on that level how much talent there is.
Yeah,
that's so
absolutely
good. That's what we love to hear. Any from you, Kumarion?
Yeah, like I said, CLB is probably one of my top that I feel like deserves more recognition. I feel like he's been putting out music for so long, and he's been hitting every single check for me in the checklist. He has a lot of big collabs out there too, so I'm surprised that he hasn't. He's not like on like the big like touring circuit.
Yeah, he's got some solid tunes. I know I've heard quite a few. He's definitely got some solid tunes for sure.
Yeah.
All right, well, it's a really strong EP. You guys should be super proud. I'm super proud of you guys. It's so cool to see you guys doing big things, especially with the tour and this EP. So congrats on it, and I hope that you guys will be carrying the fire down here to New Zealand super soon. Especially you, Kumarion, because you haven't been down here, and you need to come down here and experience it.
Yeah, I really want to. Maybe at some point next year we could carry the fire out there.
I genuinely hear people mentioning your name a lot, like wanting to see you down here. So just know you are actually wanted down here. So hopefully soon.
Oh, that's good to hear.
We love it.
For real. All right. Hey, I've taken up way too much of your time, so I really appreciate it. But thank you so much. And yeah, let's hope we'll see you down here soon. We can do another one of these.
Thank you so much, Mike. Really appreciate you having us on, man. Big up Full Noise.
Thank you.
Mike, appreciate it, man.